This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
Greetings and welcome to another installment of the show. I've got an outstanding interview subject to share with you. Well, interview subject is putting it lightly. It's a conversation. It's a conversation between myself and Zakk Wylde. This is my second conversation with the guitar maestro, and he was even better the second time around, I must say. I enjoy talking to the man, as you will be able to pick up throughout this chat. Now, the catalyst, though, is the launch of another album under the Black Label Society banner. This one is called Doom Crew Inc., and it's out right now. Before we get to the chat, I have selected a tune for your listening pleasure. If you are listening via the podcast, it's called Set You Free. We'll get to that soon. If you're listening and tuning in via YouTube, we'll cut to the conversation. Either way, let's go.
My brother.
Brother Wylde. It's good to speak to you again.
Man?
Mate, thanks for doing this. I know you have a fairly hectic schedule in terms of recording and talking to people, mate. But look, I love my brother John Howarth, and that extends to you too, mate. I've been listening to you.
Father John rocks, man. sure.
Indeed. How's the calls, or the Zoomers, as we've got to call them these days? How have they been going in support of this album?
No, great, man. We're talking about the record and, having like that. So it's all good, without a doubt. Black Label Pilates, things like that. So it's very good. So it's all good.
You haven't been indulging in any anal bleaching lately, have you?
What's that, my brother? You
haven't been indulging in any anal bleaching lately?
All the time. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, that's a constant around here.
Last time we had a chat, you mentioned that, and it was a line that I used for a few interviews afterwards. So I thought I'd mention it again. But no drums.
No one's listening to the music. Sex sells, man. I mean, we know why they're coming to see the show.
And you got
to remain sexy at all times.
And you are one sexy brother, let me tell you.
That's what I keep telling the wife. That's why I got to keep her heavily sedated and in the basement. So, she seems to be happy. So it's all good.
Mate, just a quickie before we continue. How's COVID restrictions in your part of the world?
What's that, brother?
How's the COVID restrictions in your part of the world over there?
Well, I mean, we just did the what did we do? We did 44 shows in, I think, 50 some odd days. So it's like 4 on, 1 off, 4 on, 1 off. And we were just blazing through it. But no, the tour was great. So, no COVID, nobody got sick, no hiccups, man. So, I mean, it was great. Seeing all the meet and greets, seeing the rest of our almighty Black Label family and everything like that. So all the chapters and everything, it was great. So, yeah. I mean, the tour went great. There was no COVID, didn't get in the way of anything. So it was great.
Yep. Hopefully it's like that here from now on.
Yeah, totally, man. I agree. I mean, you don't want anybody getting sick. You don't want people dying. You don't want, nobody wants that. So, but, I mean, hopefully, it just seems like everything's starting to get more and more. It's starting to get back to normal. So, I mean, we're scheduled to go over to Europe, I guess, in about 5 months from now. So hopefully that'll happen. And, obviously getting ready for Australia, New Zealand, Asia, the rest of the world. So it'll be good.
Yeah. Well, we'd love to see you, mate, especially on the strength of this album. It's hard to know where to start with you, Zakk, just with everything that you've done with your career leading up to this album here, Doom Crew Inc. But I've got to ask, I mean, at this stage of your career, do you feel like you've got anything left to prove? I mean, this is another killer album here. You just keep on bringing it.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't do anything different on this one that I did on any of the previous records. I mean, it's just kind of like, I mean, to me, I look at like every record, like if it was sports, the upcoming season, you know what I mean? Regardless whether we won the championship, whether we came that close, or we had a 500 season, or it was just a disaster. I mean, you know what I mean? So you just look at every season like, it's a brand new season, and like the hope of how awesome it's going to be and how, and having a good time. So that's where I've always approached it. So, I mean, it's always exciting going and I think if you ask any band or any, whether it's Neil Young and he's been doing it forever, or Ozzy, or, I mean, when Robert Plant goes in the studio and makes another solo record, I'm sure for him, it's just as exciting as when he was making all those amazing Zeppelin records. So, the same thing with Ozzy, when they were making all the amazing Sabbath records, when he goes in the studio, it's the whole thing of seeing it all come to life, taking the germ of an idea and just building it. And then it just like building a house, and then it just takes on a life of its own. It's great.
You are a riff factory though. And, to keep on conjuring unique and original riffs that are memorable, that's something else. Do you attribute? I know Van Halen talked about, for a few of you, you great guitarists, that creative muse lies just beyond consciousness, just somewhere over there, and someone like yourself is obviously tapped into that. But do your ideas? There's no point asking you where they come from, but when you're working through ideas and the like, when do you know you've hit upon a riff that you think is rolled gold and worthy of an album?
Well, no, I mean, usually, like you said, it could, usually it's like the first thing when you pick up the guitar. I remember Jimmy Page saying the thing, like he said, the magic always for him, he just said the first thing when he picked up a guitar, like in the morning or whatever, he'd pick it up and then like whatever ideas started coming out, just because it's fresh and it's brand new again all the time. But I mean, it's just, it really is quite amazing. But no, I think, I think all the music everyone creates, I mean, it's just it really is a reflection of everything that you digest. You know what I mean? Whether it's the Stones, like how Keith Richards would always say, everything he plays, because he loves Chuck Berry so much and it's in his DNA. Like all the Stones songs, like, Keith could tell you exactly where everything's coming from. Oh, I got that from a Chuck Berry song. That came from it was on Chuck's second album. I got this idea for Gimme Shelter. Then I got this idea, you know what I mean? And it's just like, if he didn't tell us that, we wouldn't know, we wouldn't ever put it together. You know what I mean? He just goes, oh yeah, that idea inspired me to do that. And it's just like, if you didn't tell me that, I would have never got that, because it doesn't sound anything like what you're telling me you got the idea from. You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's just like, I think, it's just wherever you get inspired, I mean, you could hear something like Knocking on Heaven's Door, and then you're like, Zakk, it'd be great if we had something like that. So, something super basic, just 3 chords or whatever. And then you end up writing Free Fall. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do. If you didn't tell me you got inspired by listening to Knocking on Heaven's Door, I would have never put that together until you told me. You were like, yeah, Zakk, I got the idea. I just turned it around and I just eventually wrote Free Fall. And I go, yeah, but it sounds nothing like Knocking on Heaven's Door. He goes, yeah, but that was the spark that lit the fire and germinated that idea. So I think a lot of inspiration comes from that as well. And, all the music that you love and you listen to, it just always inspired you.
Yeah. Talking about music that you listen to inspiring you, I think you've further embraced the twin guitar technique with Brother Dario on this album here, which is just a joy to listen to, because it sounds like it's an evolution rather than a purposeful strategy on your part. It sounds like as though it comes from this love that you've got of bands like Lizzie and Priest. So I'm going to flip the question around a little bit and ask you, have you met Scott Gorham? Do you know him well?
Well, Scott, yeah, we met Scott. When we toured with Priest, Thin Lizzy was on the bill. It was black. It was it was Black Label, Thin Lizzy, and Judas Priest were on the bill. So it was, and Scott's super cool, great guy, and it was awesome. Watching the guys kill it every night. So, but yeah, I mean, when you hear, like the obviously Thin Lizzy, the Allman Brothers, Priest, when they make it. So you need 2 guitar players in the band, you know what I mean? Whether you're doing harmonies or unison lines and stuff like that. So, I approached the record, like when I was writing it more like that. I mean, obviously the songs got to be the songs, it's just I wasn't thinking like writing 2 guitar parts when I'm writing the song. I mean, obviously, like you said, everything starts with the riff. I mean, it all comes down to the riff, and that pretty much dictates the direction of what the song's going to go. And, whether you write a riff like, Richie Blackmore wrote Smoke on the Water, that riff is just one of the greatest riffs of all time. So, I mean, the whole thing is, it's just like everything just falls into place after that. And then, and so a melody comes up, and then for me, it's always then the lyrics are last. I mean, that's the way I end up writing. But but putting Dario on, it was definitely just more of an evolution. I was just like, yeah, it'd be cool. I'll have Dario when we'll trade solos, then we could do harmony lines and unison lines and everything like that. So, it was a lot of fun writing it, for sure.
How does it work with Brother or Father Dario? Do you guys, I mean, does he live near you? Is it one of those situations where you can sort of get together on a porch with a coffee or what have you, and you can sit there and just trade licks? Or how do you guys exchange ideas?
Well, no, I mean, obviously, everything on that record that you hear is all the guitar parts I recorded before the guys even came out here, before JD came out and before Jeff came out to play drums. So when the guys came out to the Vatican, everything was already recorded. So all they had to do was just listen to it. And, whether it was Set You Free or anything like that, they would just listen, hear the intro and then they hear the riff and they go, oh, Jeff's like, well, we're all coming in right here. I go, yep, this is where we're coming in. And he goes, all right, well, what's this part right here? I go, this is the pre-chorus. This will be the chorus. And then we'll go back to the riff again. And this will be the solo. He'll just listen to the arrangement. And Jeff will go, all right, play air drums, do it a couple times. Go play it one more time. And then play air drums. Then he's like, all right, let me go on and track it. And Jeff goes in and just records the drums. Just, takes him 2 takes or whatever until he's happy. He's just like, no, that's cool. Let me fix this bit or whatever. We'll put another drum fill over here. But, I mean, it's, and it's just that much. It's just painless because obviously the songs are all there. You know, I mean, it's just like building a house. You know, once you get a great drum track and everything like that, but everything's already recorded. So I mean, the whole thing is all Jeff has to do is just listen to it and just go, all right, let me go knock it out. And then JD works his magic. He puts his bass on it. Then the fellas go home, and then I have something to start. Now I got to start putting lyrics and vocals on it. So, and then I knock that out, and then solos are always last. You know, because then the solo is kind of like the frame of the thing. So this way you can digest the whole song and see what mood it puts you in, and then write a solo to what you're hearing, what kind of solo you want to put.
Yeah, I love your soloing, by the way.
Thanks,
I'm an old school Ozzy fan, and I started with Jake, got into you afterwards, and your soloing, you're just one of those guys who naturally has a method of when you don't even need to know that you're playing the guitar to know that it's you playing a solo. And that's
it's that horrendous. It stinks. It's the smell. It just starts coming from the speakers, and you go, "What's the matter?" They go, "That must be Zakk playing." You can tell what the vibrato. No, not the phrasing either. Just the actual stench in the room now.
It's true. I'll pay that. But I remember seeing you.
That's what JD always goes with, without a doubt.
I'll never forget seeing you on Ozzy's first ever Australian solo tour, 1998. Cast your mind back to that. And I'm a musician, right? So as much as I love Oz, who was in the band back then? It was Mike Inez. It was the classic Ozzy lineup in the 90s. So it was yourself, Mike.
When we were down in Australia, it was me, Randy, John Sinclair, and Mikey. Yeah, it was the No More Tears lineup. Yeah, totally.
Correct.
That was a lot of fun, man.
Man, there were so many of us. You could actually buy your T-shirt in the merch stand as well. So a bunch of us bought your T-shirt as well. So repping you. But it was 1998, going back to that era, that was metal's lowest commercial ebb by far, 1997 to about 1999, and seeing you smack bang in the middle of that and seeing other people around me who had an appreciation for guitar soloing, because remember, solos were a dirty word back then, except for bands like Ozzy and what you were doing. Stuff with Ozzy and what you were doing. But so many of us were just so enthusiastic. And I don't know whether it was just in Australia here or what have you, but seeing you come down and just riffing and soloing the way you were, I like to think that played a role in kicking off a love by the fans for heavy metal again. Did you feel that way a little bit back then? Did it feel like as though you were kicking things off? It was definitely fun, when we all went down there. I remember, it was a blast. I mean, because, it was the No More Tears band. So, we'd all gone and done, Mike was playing with Alice. Randy was doing some other things. I don't know if Randy was playing with Motley yet either, but Ram was doing his thing. I had done the Pride and Glory thing. And it was right when I first started the Book of Shadows. And I had just started, I think, maybe Black Label. Yeah, right around there because it was 98. But it was just great seeing everybody, and it was fun playing again. So yeah, it was a blast, man, for sure. Mm. Hey, are you still playing your Gibson Les Paul custom model guitars?
What's that, bud?
Are you still playing the Gibson Les Paul customs? Is that the?
No, I've been playing my Wylde audios for a while now.
You have been. Sorry, that's right.
Probably about 6 years now. Almost 6, 7 years, something like that.
So
I still have all my Les Pauls and all my Gibsons. They're just retired now, but I still got them. Grail and everything. Yep.
Have you still got the original Les Paul? The one, the circle on it, the black and white circle on it. You've still got that?
Yep. Of course, still got it, without a doubt.
Have you had many? Those billionaire collectors that might be a Sabbath or an Ozzy fan. Have you had many of them reach out to you and offer you some cash for that?
Well, just hold on to them. I mean, if you never needed money and you had to, you'd take care of your family, that's what you use for emergency, break glass and, use it then. But obviously it's just, there's a retired for my kids, man, total.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah. Hey, how do you choose which guitar to match with which song and even which parts inside a song?
Well, obviously, certain guitars have different sounds, but with my Wylde audio things, the craftsmanship that they put in the things, just like kind of with my Gibsons, my with the custom shop ones, with the USA stuff, where I use my Epiphones. I mean, the quality on them was always crushing. Always. I never picked up one where I was like, oh, this is bad, ever. Just the consistency was awesome. So, I mean, the same thing's carried over pretty much with all the Wylde audio stuff. But, no, it's just different sounds will give you different things. Obviously, a single coil pickup and double, humbuckers and P90s and everything. Yeah. The pickups are always, because the pickup is basically the microphone of the guitar, so that's always going to give you a different tonality, so, but, no, I mean, and which is awesome. I mean, because it's just like using crayons. If you're hearing a different color, you just use a different type of pickup. So that's it.
Yeah. You were fairly well known there for using the EMG 81s and 85s. There, do you still sort of go back to them occasionally?
Well, no, for me, I still use all my EMGs. The 81s and the 85s, the Zakk Wylde models. Yeah. So. Yeah, because the clarity on them is so clear. That's the reason why I love them. Especially when you're playing this style of music where it's super distorted. You want to hear the clarity of all the notes. So that's the reason why I use them.
Hey, I'm going to change track again. I meant to ask this a little bit earlier, but lyrical themes. You don't get asked that a lot, certainly from the interviews that I've tuned into. But lyrical themes, are they important to you, lyrical themes, or are they something that you just sort of, you've got to do because you've obviously got to have, well, in this instance here, because you're a singer, you've got to have some vocals. But do you focus on any lyrical themes and ideas in particular?
Yeah, I think, it's got to be things that interest you. You know what I mean? So, anything that I take an interest in, whether, it could be things that have happened to me, things that have happened to people I know, and then, or just, people, or I read an autobiography. I mean, like, when I wrote the lyrics for Crazy Horse, I remember reading a Wikipedia thing just on Crazy Horse, because a bunch of my buddies were all talking about, like, who's the, my one buddy's Native American Indian. So we were just talking about, like, who was the, out of all the Indian warriors and the chiefs and everything like that, whether it was Sitting Bull, Geronimo, Crazy Horse, like, who's the baddest ass of all of them or whatever, just talking about that. But I remember just reading a Wikipedia on Crazy Horse one day, and I ended up writing a song about him. So, it's just things that you take interest in. And then, because like I said, I always write the lyrics last. So whatever inspires me or what I want to write it about, then I'll write it about, so... Which is crazy, because a lot of times, like, people will go, oh, Zakk, me and my wife got married to that song or this and that. And, it's just like, and I just think to myself, they only knew what I wrote that song about, but that's the beautiful thing about lyrics is however those lyrics are speaking to you, then it's your song. You know what I mean? If it affects you that way, then that's awesome. That's the beautiful thing about music.
What's the oddest thing a fan has said to you?
I can't believe JD's still in a band with you. Why?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Back in the day, it was, are you guys out of beer? That was another one. That was probably a pretty odd one. Back in the Berserkin days, because we were never out of beer ever. So that would be an odd question. If someone said, "Are you guys out of beer?" It's like, no, don't ever say that, and you can leave and don't ever come back.
Yeah, geez, yeah. Hey, tell me about playing with Mike Borden, because I thought you guys had a superb partnership.
Yeah, Mike's awesome. Actually, I just one of my buddies, Walter, he was just like, yeah, Mike, you said hi. I said, send Mike my love. But no, Mike, last time I saw Mike, he was over at Ozzy's 70th birthday party. I saw Mike over there, but Mike's awesome. Love Father Mike. Amazing drummer and just an amazing guy. Awesome.
He's very different to Randy, isn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, actually, it's awesome because, all the drummers I played with, all the great musicians I play with, it's like literally their personality is in their playing. It really is. But that's a true mark of a great musician. Because their personalities actually in their playing. So, which is awesome. That's what I guess at the end of the day, that's what everybody strives for, So, but of all the music, I could tell whenever I'm playing with all the drummers I've played with throughout the years, who are all amazing. They all have their own personalities and they have their own thing about them, their own sound. So whether they're playing, they could all play 4/4, they could play Back in Black, each one of them, and it'll all sound different. It's like a cheeseburger. You got McDonald's, you got Burger King, you got In-N-Out, you got Wendy's, you got, Jack in the Box. I mean, every Whataburger, every burger joint, White Castle, it's a cheeseburger. How different can it be? But they're all different. You know what I mean? It's the truth.
I hope I can ask this question, brother, but can you remember the last conversation you had with Randy? Randy Castillo, that is?
Yeah, I remember we saw him at the Ozfest. Rand came down, and I think, it was after he had surgery and everything. So we thought he was going to be fine. So, it was like, oh, awesome. We were just happy he got the surgery done with and everything like that. And, with the cancer and everything like that. So, we were all obviously positive in hopes that he was going to be fine. So, but Randy was awesome, man, for sure. Once again, another one, just an amazing drummer, but an amazing guy. Just super cool. Just awesome.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. There's a partnership that I wish happened with between yourself and a bassist, Steve DiGiorgio from Death. You've probably heard of him. And I understand he was in the frame at some point in time to potentially join Ozzy's band. He's a magnificent bass player. So first of all, have you heard of him and have you heard of his playing? And if you have, man, I'd love for you guys to be able to get together sometime in the near future.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Steve DiGiorgio from Death and Satis.
No, I don't know.
Check him out.
What band is he playing?
Well, he was in Death, Chuck Schuldiner and Death.
Oh, okay.
Okay, these days he's in Testament these days.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, very, very fretless bass player. But I think you guys would just you look dissimilar, and
very cool, man.
And his playing is just otherworldly. And I think as a guitarist, you guys would be two parts of this insane riff factory that fans, I think, would love to hear. So please check it out. I'd love it if you guys can do something, So, mate, I've got a couple. Actually, I'll do a time check. How much more time have I got?
What's up, my brother?
How much more time have I got with you? I'll just do a time check.
11. Well, we got a couple more minutes. It says 11:26, 11:30. We got 4 minutes, bro.
4 minutes. Gosh, so many questions.
All right.
No worries. One more then. How important do you think Michael Beenhorn was to making Osmosis happen? And what are your memories of working with Michael?
Oh, I love Mike, man. Mike's awesome. So, I have a junior, a 58 junior. Actually, Les Paul ended up signing it, but Mike got me as a gift when we were working on that record. But working on Osmosis, I had a blast working on that one. We were in Paris. We worked on it for a little while. We did the drums over there with Dean. And then after that, we went to New York City and we were tracking there. It was amazing. Had an awesome time. So, and then working with Mike was great. I mean, we had a blast with doing all the guitars and everything like that, using, obviously with my Gibsons, then using Dan Electros, like C on the other side, for the clean bits, the real glassy bits and everything like that. Just doing all the guitar work. And we had a lot of fun, man, for sure.
Sweet.
Mike's great.
Mate,
actually, we did we did a Black Label album together too. We did.
Oh, is that right?
We did, we worked with Mike on when we did Shout to Hell.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, mate, never enough time, as I say. Thanks for making the music that you've made. It is meaningful. People going through COVID lockdowns, isolation, even beyond that, marriage breakdowns, depression, this sort of stuff. I think your music has been very meaningful for people over the years, mate, as it continues to be. So thank you for doing what you're doing, and just please keep on doing it.
Cheers, my brother. Well, hopefully we'll be down there before you know it,
Absolutely, mate. Well, I'll be in the crowd.
Go out there and have some coffee with Father John and hang out and have a good time, man.
That's it, mate. That's it. Well, thanks so much for the chat, brother. Yeah, it's awesome.
Without a doubt, man. Great talking to you, brother.
No worries at all. Have a great one, eh? Thanks very much again.
Brother. Take care, bud.
Cheers. Catch ya. Yep, that about sums it up. Never enough time. There were so many more questions I would love to ask. The great man just there, Zakk Wylde from Black Label Society, Pride and Glory, Ozzy Osbourne, and God knows how many guest spots he's done. What a fella. My name's Andrew Mackay-Smith, and I'm the host of the Scars and Guitars podcast series. Go across to my website, scarsandguitars.com, where you can find many more interviews similar to that one. Maybe not just like that one, because that was a fucking ripper, but similar. I've also got a book coming out. The launch date is the 20th of February 2022. I will have a pre-order up there on the website. If books in an autobiographical sense about the podcast, my podcast, are of interest to you, I will have a bit of a biography posted by the time this goes to air. So do check that out. Hit me up. I'm easily found on socials as well. I love having a bit of banter with fans of rock music. Something else, I'm participating in a bit of a chat fest with Bald-Headed Metal on YouTube. Check out that as well. I won't put the links in there because you guys are smart. You know what to bloody do. I don't know why people, these things are implied, aren't they? You don't have to put subscribe here and click this to go there. You guys are smart. Bald-Headed Metal. Type it into YouTube's search field and you'll go to a page that features some chats between myself and Joseph all the way over there in New York City. We talk about all sorts of shit to do with rock and heavy metal. Well, that's it. Again, my name's Andrew Mackay-Smith and you've been listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast series. Until next time, it is a very goodbye for now.